Is this working? I hope it's working. Alright, hello boys and girls. This is me, RGB, streaming from my basement. I've had friends on YouTube who were trying out streaming as of late, so I figured I'd jump on the wagon and do the same. See if it's fun. If it's fun, I might do it again. If it's not, well, I might do it again. That's how it is. Oh, we're just gonna wait for some people to show up and we'll go from there. Some, if any. Okay. If anyone's watching, you can maybe leave a comment in the chat so that I know that someone's watching. And yeah. And then I know that it makes sense to explain what I'm gonna do on the stream. So yeah, go ahead, make yourself visible. Okay, cool. So somebody's watching. That's great. Somebody did come. That's success in my book. Okay, so the idea was to just put some stuff on the timeline and twixtor it, and maybe along the way I'm gonna explain how motion interpolation works and stuff like that, and you guys can ask questions along the way and I can answer them and we'll see how that goes. If it's fun, I might do it again. Yeah, so let's move on. I have a pretty standard zoom scene. I'm pretty sure it's 24 frames per second or 23.976, however you want to have it. That means if I cycle through the frames, it moves every frame, right? I'm pressing the button, it moves every frame. What do twixtor people do in that case? We pre-compose it and we apply twixtor, and basically the input frame rate should be the animation frame rate, which is 24 frames per second, which it is. You can have this on 100 or 70. Yeah, and then it just works. If we go back, set this to 60 FPS or more, it will in fact be 60 FPS. I don't know if the stream is 60 FPS. I think it is. So in theory, if I play this back, should look like super smooth and everything. And yeah, that's awesome. But interpolating scenes like this is not really fun because nothing's going on. So let's just step it up a bit. And let's choose a different scene, like this one, for example. I just have a bunch of scenes from Madoka, I don't know how to pronounce that. So I have a bunch of scenes from Cut Out, so to mess around with. So, you know, I'm prepared a little bit. It's After Effects 2017. I don't know if this is how you write it or whatever. Yeah, I think this is how you write it, spell it or whatever. And I think with After Effects, if it works, you know, don't break it, don't upgrade if it works, because not every update is, you know, perfectly functional, so to speak. So I just prefer to stay at the most stable version. Not that the new features are that useful, to be honest. Okay, so I've counted the amount of frames in this scene, and I'm pretty sure it's 8 frames per second all the way. So every new frame, every 3 frames, right? It skips 2, 1 frame per 3 frames. 24 divided by 3 is 8. Pretty simple stuff. The reason this is not 8 is because, well, we divide 23.9676 by 3. We do not divide 24 because 24 is not the actual frame rate of the video. It's a nuisance, but it is important to get that right if you want to do like cool shit like twixtor masks and, you know, fixing artifacts. You need to get that one right, otherwise you get trouble, which I'm not gonna get into right now. So we divide this by 3, we get, shit, what have I done? We get almost 8. Right, then we enable twixtor, we go back to the main comp, and we get pretty decent looking 60 FPS, I guess. Now her mouth is opening, flapping. This is something I don't really like. It's just, unless it's like justified by the context of the music or, you know, your AMV, but otherwise it's just, it looks bad. So normally you can do crazy shit, like you can duplicate the layer, right? I'm just gonna disable twixtor for now. You can duplicate the layer, you know, mask out the mouth or whatever. Wait, this is a little bit, I'm gonna put more effort into this. And, you know, let's go this one, mouth. Then you can freeze frame it. Okay, a little bit more transparent. Move it around and just animate. This is gonna look terrible, by the way, but for the sake of this video, just me showing how it works, it should be fine. And we just move it around like so. Wait, is this? Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's leave it at that. And now, if I pre-compose these scenes again, right. Oh, and by the way, I need to and we put twixtor on top of the composition. Now the twixtor, oh, hold on, let's make this 10. Now the twixtor thinks this mouthpiece was at the top of the footage the whole time, so it's gonna interpolate, you know, along with the mouth. It does look terrible, God, but it will interpolate this piece as well. So if we go back to the main comp now, it, you know, it actually, well, I don't know if you can see it, but it actually interpolates the piece of this mouth, or this fake mouth as well. So it's a good thing, it's a good idea to think about twixtor as, well, you can put pretty much anything, right, as the source, even, you know, the scenes that you've changed and added things to. So you can put that and interpolate that as well and create like awesome looking stuff out of it. So that's pretty cool. Right. But for now, let's delete this horrible mess. It doesn't look good. Alright, what else can we show? Can I show you guys? Oh, by the way, if you want, you can leave suggestions in the comments or whatever. Tell me if you want to see anything specific. I might show it as well, because I'm in the mood. For now, I'm just going to continue interpolating stuff, I guess. See if something comes up that I can explain. Oh, this looks nice. I used to have a lot of fun doing this back when I was learning this shit two years ago. I think it was 2 years ago, or 3 years. Was it 3 years ago? Oh man, it's been 3 years now. Holy shit. Yeah, so back then I had a lot more fun with this. I was just fascinated by the concept. So fascinated, I learned how to do this. And nowadays, it's only fun when I show it to people, I guess. Hence why I'm streaming right now. It's more fun to explain than actually do. So the frame rate here is also 8 FPS. So we're gonna do, oh, by the way, I'm actually using presets, as you've probably noticed. If you do it like you normally do it, you should probably go to twixtor, you know, drag it on, and then you just, the default values are different. That's pretty much it. That's the only difference. The twixtor presets that I have are just input frame rates, because it's bothersome to, you know, put the numbers in all the time. Can I show motion mates? I can, but not in the context of this project. I can open up another project and show how it's done there. Yeah, actually, let's do that after I'm done with this. God damn it. Why did I... Okay, this is not supposed to happen, but it's supposed to divide the whole number, but it doesn't do that for some reason. Whatever. To be honest, I don't remember how much is 24 point whatever divided by 3, so I'm just gonna... Okay, this is a weird bug that I haven't encountered yet, so whatever. We have the scene, we have the twixtor, we play back. Looks good. The only reason it looks so good, well, I mean, in my opinion, is that I've pre-picked hand selected these specific scenes that I knew were going to interpolate well. You know, that's really the only reason it works so well. It's not because I have like super settings or whatever. It's just when you do it for a while, you just have an eye for scenes that work well, or you just pick everything that's in slow motion, really. Yeah, this looks so good. There's actually not much to fix. Like, if I were doing an actual video, I'd probably leave it like this, and I wouldn't fix anything unless I don't know, something pops up or whatever. Alright, let's save this for now to the desktop, and let's open up an older project of mine, which some of you may have seen before. The big Twixtor video that I made a while back. I'm just gonna try and find it now. Oh, there we go. And I'm gonna show the motion mates and how I fixed the Twixtor artifacts and everything. Wow, 10 files missing. Well, I guess I'm not gonna render that again. Ever. This is sad. Oh well. Right. Let me just find something with a motion mate on. Oh, this one. I had a video where I was doing this one. No, not this one. This. Right. Man, after coming back to such project after a while, it's a little bit messy. I do not really have a really good working ethic or whatever, so I leave everything pretty messed up and then I don't remember what I did. But this should be okay. So the motion mates, let's set this to full. Okay, actually let's set this to half. The motion mates work like this. You have pre-composed masked layers, like this nose, or, you know, front hair. I've duplicated this layer and pre-composed it. Inside the pre-composition, I've masked a specific object, like this nose. You see how it follows it around. And same thing with the front hair. I've masked the front hair thing, and it just follows it around throughout the whole scene. And then these masks that I've made, I tell Twixtor that each of them, which one of them is like in the foreground or in the background. Basically, Twixtor has 3 foreground layers, like 3 mask layers that you can put on top of everything else in the frame. So this hairpiece and this nose are on top of the frame, and everything else is the background. So this is the background, BG, foreground, foreground, FG. As you can see, foreground 1, front hair, this layer is above everything else. Then goes foreground 2, which is below foreground 1, but above, you know, everything else. And it goes to foreground 2. Pretty easy, I guess, when it's explained like that. This is basically how motion mates work. You cut out stuff and you tell Twixtor, you know, you tell Twixtor basically that this stuff exists, that these layers that you have them prepared, and you put them on the route foreground layer, which in this case doesn't matter because, no, actually it does matter, because at some point in the scene the front hairpiece is covering the nose. So this is why it's foreground 1 and nose is foreground 2, because 1 is on top of 2, you know. Capiche? Pretty easy. Right. Now, these are the motion mates. The masks you see here are not actually parts of the motion mates. They're on this layer and not part of these layers. These two masks around the nose and the front hair are actually masks that I've copied from these layers, right? This green mask is the same as the green mask here. The reason I did that is because in Twixtor you can also tell the background layer. Well, you can pretty much do, it's sort of the same thing. You can make masks on the layer itself, the Twixtor layer itself, that follow the objects around. Man, this is so slow. Okay, this will be quicker. You can make masks that follow the objects around inside the Twixtor layer, and they stay within the background layer. So this is obviously easier to do than, you know, your usual stuff, because well, because of reasons. No, because you don't have to pre-compose anything, and they don't even have to be that accurate, right? With these masks, you need to be very careful to not omit any edges, because of things I'm going to explain later on, maybe. The bottom line is you do not want to have any of these outside of the mask. You can see I have some, but it's good enough. But with these masks, right, this is the motion mates, these two. With masks that I have just on the layer, they're not as accurate. They just have to follow, you know, the general outlines of the object. And the Twixtor then, well, if you're lucky, and if you did a good enough job, knows where this hairpiece is going to. Sometimes it works. If it doesn't, you may have to, well, get your hands dirty and you know, do it the hard way. The hard way are the motion mates, hands down, the most time-consuming method of them all, I think, you know, off the top of my head. And yeah, that's basically it. I don't really, you know, don't really have anything to add right now. Okay, I can flex and show you a different scene from the same AMV that I had to spend a lot of time on. I think a couple of days. This one. This was probably the first scene I fixed in this video, and it was a fucking nightmare, I tell you. This is all motion mates, and I don't know, I think if I disable these two. God damn it. You see, this is, I don't even remember what I did here exactly, but wait, let me, I think I actually have 3 Twixtor layers on top of each other. Yeah, like the nose part and the mouth part, and inside, well, let's say the nose composition, I have like Twixtor layers inside it that have their own masks and motion mates applied to them. So because the original scene had so many elements that looked bad. I had to separate the scene into different parts, twixtor parts, and do twixtor artifacts fixing thing inside those compositions, and that was messed up. And yeah, it took me a while. So, okay, weird flex, but okay. Let's open let's not save anything, because don't really want to disturb this old relic. And let's continue, I guess, with the program. Are you guys, I don't know, are you guys entertained? Is this not too technical? Or whatever? If you can propose, we can do literally anything else. I guess I can put some music on. Something not too disturbing. Alright. Something that won't, you know, ban me from YouTube forever. Oh, by the way, this is how my footage looks if I make this full screen. This is basically Premiere, Adobe Premiere Pro, CC 2017, blah blah blah. It's excellent. I don't use it as an editing program at all. Very rarely, when I have to do like something really small. But for footage, it's brilliant. Like, I don't know, I can't think of anything better than this thing, because this is like a glorified footage folder where you can zoom over each footage piece, and yeah, you can scrap the entire thing, and it's awesome. I mean, I think you can see by yourselves. It's just way too good. When you have, you know, just the you have just the footage folder. It's, you know, it's just pictures. It doesn't really tell you much about what's inside, unless it's very short or whatever. But here it's perfect, so I can I don't know, this part. Okay, I want this on my After Effects timeline. I click it, Control C, you know, Control Alt V, which puts the layer right, you know, after my timeline marker. This is it. Oh, this doesn't work. Go back. If you have two screens, it's even cooler, because I have two screens, but for the sake of this tutorial, we want this scene. So copy, paste, voila. This really helps because After Effects has notoriously bad, you know, timeline for editing. You know, for compositions and effects and everything, it's pretty cool, but if you want to make long videos, it's just, you know, the volume of the music, okay. And yeah, so that's also one of the things I do that really helps me along the way. All of this is explained, like pretty much all of this is explained in the tutorials that the famous Lolliger Judge Lolly wrote the tutorials. It's written there. You want to learn awesome stuff like this and a little bit more? Just read them. It's worth it, I think. You know, I read them, learned a bunch of stuff. It's worth it. It's pretty good. Okay, fanboy mode off. Let's continue. Another 8 frames per second scene. Same deal, go back. Wow, looks epic. Except for this mouthpiece, which jumps around. But we can actually fix this, and I think I can do it right now. Live. I'm gonna show you how those guidance masks work. This is not a motion made. I'm not separating any objects or anything. I'm just making a mask along this mouth. Mask, it has to be in a way that, you know, the points, the vertices, and the splines connecting them are aligned with the shape of that object, you know, the contour or whatever, you know, the part that warps, basically. And what we do after that is we just animate. Okay. I'm gonna make this a hold keyframe because it doesn't have to move every frame. And we just animate it along the shape of the mouth. This can take a short while, but not that long. And as you can see, I'm doing it. I'm not doing it on the next frame. I'm doing it at the end of the animation. So the mask, if I do this, basically, you know, aligns itself. I just need to put a keyframe at the right place. Okay, this is strange. Okay, whatever. And yeah, I think. Oh wait, I'm stupid. Okay. I'm just talking and editing at the same time. It's a little bit complicated sometimes. Okay, so I'm not gonna go into full detail how this works, but basically the concept. So we've masked the mouth. We now go to the background settings, BG. We select the mask we just made to tell Twixtor that, you know, it exists. And basically the mask is following up until this point, at which point I lower the opacity to 0, which disables it. So if we go back, I'm gonna enable the Twixtor thing. We go back. Well, okay, you can see if you go to full. Okay, go to full. You can see no more warping. Pretty good. You know, it warps when the mouth opens, but that's besides the point. If I disable the mask, let's read this again. See? So that one was pretty easy. Sometimes you can just get away with that. It's like save yourself a lot of time. A lot of time. Okay. There's that. God, we have a bit of a timeline now. Right, let's look for something else. Okay, I wonder how this is gonna go. Okay, new scene. Same thing. Now, here. Oh, just a sec. We have a question in the studio. Why inverse and not in forward? The reason I do it in inverse, by the way, for the guys who don't know what he's talking about, he's talking about this option here. The reason why it's on inverse is because if I put it to forward and leave the GPU on, this is the GPU acceleration that makes everything faster, After Effects is gonna crash at some point. I'm not gonna click around the timeline for that to happen, but it's gonna crash. Basically, the both options are identical, but if you switch between the two, they have varying results, but in the end, the results that you get do not vary that much, unless you use motion mates, which is, again, you have to switch back and forth and see which one's better. The bottom line is inverse is faster, and it works well with my GPU, so that's why. That was a bit technical, but you know, I did answer the question. With this scene, we have another problem. Well, it's not a problem, but it's just an inconvenience. As you can see, nothing moves. Like, there's no movement up until this point where the flare lights up and, you know, it goes up to her face and whatever. I don't know what's happening. And what we can do is we can find the point where it starts and just cut the comp, so as if that part was never there, and twixtor it down. By the way, this is in UV, right? This is 12 FPS, which is better than 8, so it may interpolate better. Now we play it back. We don't have that static part at the beginning. It's just nice and smooth from the get-go. Pretty epic. Wow, it warps a lot less than I thought it would. You know, then you add like a bunch of, I don't know, contrast curve, a glow. Maybe, I don't know, some cool, edgy masks, feather them, go to tree tone, set it to freaking light blue. And wow, look at this. Isn't this the best color correction ever? Which also takes forever to load. Wow. This says something about our society, right? Yeah, whatever. I'm sorry, this is that was a little bit of fun. Right. Let's move on. What else can we do? Oh, let's try this one. I think this is going to work just as I'm planning for it to go. If we this is what I wanted to show. You see how there's stuff behind the character and how it gets distorted, like this halo around his silhouette. This is when you want to make a motion mat around the object. This is actually where you want to, you know, duplicate the layer, and disable twixtor. No, pre-compose it again. And wait, what the hell? I'm sorry. I don't. Okay, let's clean this up a bit. A little bit flabbergasted. Pre-compose the layer. Go back. Name it void. Go inside, and this is where you start masking. You know, this is where you spend hours masking every frame. Blah blah blah. At which point, when it's done, let's make it finished. Let's finish it. At which point you go here and you set the mat. I think, man, I haven't done this in a while. Yeah, I think this is how it works. And then we disable it. And then look. There's now a line around here, basically at the same spot where the mask is. So you can see that there's already some interaction between the mat and the twixtor going on. If you make it accurate, like a little bit like here, you'll have less warping. Yeah. This is how the cookie crumbles. You know the phrase, this is how the cookie crumbles? From that old movie, Bruce Almighty, where Jim Carrey becomes the god and does stuff. And he used to say that phrase. I'm too old. Whatever. Never mind. The guy in the chat is asking me if there's gonna be, if I'm gonna save the stream. I'm probably gonna save it. I don't know. The thing is, I'm doing this for the first time, and I don't know if I press the end stream button, does it save itself? If it does, I'll upload it. If it doesn't, you know, we'll just do it again sometime. Maybe. Can you guys tell me if what is actually gonna happen when I'm gonna end the stream? I mean, I could Google it, but you know, I'm a little bit busy right now. Let's see. Oh, this is an interesting one. So here we have letterboxing. For those who don't know, letterboxing are the black bars that you get when your footage is, when the resolution is narrower than, you know, the resolution of the screen, or however else you output it. And the thing is you obviously, you may, if you have like a video without letterboxing, you may want to, you know, zoom in and trim the black lines completely. But the thing is, you cannot do so inside the twixtor comp, because twixtor does not like when you mess with the source material. If you interpolate the scene. Wait, no, actually, never mind. Oh, okay. Well, apparently this used to be a problem in the older versions. It's not a problem now. Never mind. But just to keep it, you know, organized and all, I would apply twixtor in a separate composition, like normally, and then I would zoom in inside the main comp so that you know that you've made some transformations to the layer in case you want to add like blur and stuff like that. Because if you forget, as you can see, if you add motion blur, even if you repeat edge pixels, some part of that letterboxing is gonna leak inside your viewing frame, and it's not gonna look good. Actually happened in that black and white video I showed before. It's not noticeable, but it's there if you look for it at points. So yeah, be careful there. Actually, let's leave it at, for the sake of aesthetics. I'm gonna read through the chat again. Okay, once I end the stream, it'll start to upload my channel. Great. Okay, saves me the headache. Pushing more buttons. It took me a while to set this up. I was trying to use shadow play, but it didn't work out. Had to switch to OBS. And I don't like OBS, but yeah, we have what we have. Let's see. Another interesting thing that I do is I came up with this while sitting on the toilet. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, it's one of those ideas that you get while doing some stupid shit, like, you know, taking, I mean, not stupid shit, but you know, when you have shower thoughts or stuff like that, you come up with crazy ideas. So the one that I came up with is, let me just open my latest project in a sec. Where did I leave it? Is it this one? I think so. Nope, we don't want to. Or actually, maybe we wanted to save. Oh, whatever. Doesn't matter. So, you may have seen this video already. It's the one I've uploaded a couple of days ago. It's pretty niche. But what I wanted to show is this part here. Okay, let's see. This one looks better. The thing is, in the video, if I disable the effects, wait, how do I disable the effects again? God damn it, I forgot how to use this software. We disable the if we disable, god damn it, how did I use this? Okay, right. If we disable the effects, we can do this. So the layer itself is interpolated, as you probably have seen before. So there's movement every frame. The thing is, the problem, or well, the thing is, in the anime, you know, in your cartoons, things rarely move at 24 frames per second, so it's rare that an animation happens every single frame. So if you put that in your music video and pair it with normal looking scenes where there's movement like every second frame, it looks a little bit out of place. And you know, usually you can tell that this is not like original animation, but there's a way to trick a viewer by using an effect called posterize time. And what, oh wait, actually I already use it. I'm just disable the effects and I'm not thinking clearly. Alright, so what this thing does is it limits the frame rate of the scene to the value that, well, you put in. I put in 8 FPS, that means the face is moving every 3 frames. So now, that was a bit loud. It seems as if it's the original thing, but it's not, because it actually plays out like this. It's way faster and goes in reverse. This way you can stretch it out and still make it seem as if it was, you know, like this in the original case. I don't know which word to use, case. Obviously you still get warping, such as this. But because the frame rate is lower and the scene is so good, it's basically not noticeable. If you add all the noise and everything on top, you know, be creative with your effects, nobody will ever notice, like, period, because how the hell are you supposed to see that? You just don't. It's so good. Okay. Yeah, that's basically everything I wanted to show. I don't really know what else to do. I think we're just gonna end this here for now. It was fun. Thanks for coming. And we'll do some more another time. Maybe next time I'm gonna, you know, actually schedule it so it appears in everyone's subscriber feed or whatever. So maybe more people will come. And it'll be even more fun. And I'll actually prepare next time. So many possibilities. Alright, see you guys.